try and break them.
Do you think there was some resentment from your colleagues there, that you were listening to the Muslims there, being compassionate to their situation, that might have led up to the unfortunate incidents which took place with you?
There was resentment from people in Guantanamo towards me and other patriotic American Muslims as well. There was an extreme anti-Muslim hostility directed not only towards the prisoners, but directed also towards the American Muslims who were also serving that joint task force.
So you mean the American Muslim soldiers who were there, working there, also they were subject to discrimination?
Of course. I wasn't the only one under investigation. There were several other Muslim Americans also under investigation. I wasn't the only one who was thrown in jail after serving in Guantanamo. There were 2 other Muslim Americans who were also thrown in jail. So yes, this hostility was directed towards even Muslim Americans. And this is something interesting. When I was down in Guantanamo, I was able to ensure that every meal served to the prisoners was halal. But when the Muslim soldiers requested accommodation for halal food and dietary diets from the command, it was refused and rejected from the commanding general. So the Muslim Americans couldn't even get halal food, but the prisoners were.
SubhanAllah, really, this is some amazing things, and when America pretends to be the one holding the moral compass for the world, how can you be taken seriously when guilty of such things?
Right. See, my role as a chaplain is first and foremost to defend that freedom of religion for all individuals. And in Guantanamo, I was able to ensure, for example, that the adhan, the call to prayer, is made 5 times a day. That over a loudspeaker, I was able to ensure that every cell had an arrow directing the prisoners to pray towards Mecca, to adjust the meal schedules to accommodate fasting during Ramadan. I was able to do some of those things, but some of the things I wasn't able to prevent, like the use of religion against the prisoners. I talked about the Quran desecration.
Yes.
But some of the prisoners also told me...
What about this also about the use of dogs and tricking them and telling them that their food is really pork and these type of things?
Well, let me talk to you about some of the things that I did become aware of down there.
Yes.
Like when prisoners told me they came back from interrogation and they were shackled at the wrist and at the waist and at the ankles. They were forced to sit in the center of a satanic circle.
You mean, so somebody drew it on the floor?
Yeah, drew or painted on the floor or whatever. And the interrogator attempted to force that prisoner to bow down and prostrate, meaning make sujood and ruku' in the center of that satanic circle, while that interrogator screams at the prisoner that Satan is your God, not Allah. How else was religion being used? The female interrogators would take their clothes off and strip naked in front of the Muslim prisoners, rubbing their bodies against the prisoners. And even going further, again, this is also confirmed in U.S. military investigations, that female interrogators even grabbed the genitals of Muslim male prisoners in the course of interrogation. This is horrendous. This is outrageous. This is not who we are as Americans. And these are the things that I spoke out against.
Right.
And that's why I believe I was targeted and why they threw me in jail, because of my religion, my faith, my ethnicity, being Chinese American, and also for speaking out against these horrendous violations of our American and Islamic values.
Now, how long has it been since you've been there?
They took me involuntarily from that prison operation in September of 2003. And I left the military in 2005. And I've even written a book about my experience called For God and Country, Faith and Patriotism Under Fire. It's actually a bestseller right now in Indonesia.
Right. So what do you imagine the conditions are for the Muslim prisoners now? I mean, do you have any way to know? Do you think it's improved, or do you think after your departure it's just gotten worse?
After the confirmed abuses to the